Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in. This episode, we're doing all kinds of random stuff on the Brat. Stay tuned. All right guys, so ran into a little bit of an issue, which I guess when you're kind of making things adapt where they shouldn't go or where they originally didn't come from, you run into a few little issues. So this, if you will, is the brake caliper mounts here, and then you got 3 bolts. Luckily for us, the inside diameter of this and the bolt pattern is all the same on the 81 Brat. So as you see, this one's marked right. So this would have gone on the car like this. Brake caliper would have mounted. You got the 3 bolts, hub, brake, rotor, and all that going right here. So on the Brat, on the actual car, if I flipped it this way, which is kind of what I originally was thinking about doing, part of the back here, these fins hit on the trailing arm. If I mount it the way it's supposed to go, like this little guy here rubs a little bit. So these are already kind of crusty, as you can tell. What I think I'm going to do is try to strategically remove this piece from the dust shield, which I'm not too worried about the dust shield. So I want to remove it as best I can. Should be able to drill out some spot welds here maybe. There's one there, and hopefully we can get this guy peeled off, and we'll go from there. Okay, well, honestly didn't mess up the vacuum plate too much. I know it looks pretty rough, but it was already pretty rough. But basically just drilled out all the spot holes that I could see. And then that leaves us with the bracket. So there's a little spot weld there I couldn't get off earlier, but let me get this guy cleaned up and then we'll put on the bracket. So I'm by no means gonna act like I know what I'm doing, but what I did is I attached the vacuum plate here to the table, and then I milled down this lip here. So this lip was kind of up and it went down, and what it was doing is it was rubbing, let me show you, it was rubbing on the trailing arm. Right here. And so now by trimming that down effectively, get this guy to match up, we're barely touching right there. I'm gonna see if it has an effect. If not, I'm gonna go with it, but it doesn't look like we're having an effect. Everything is mounting up. I mean, we might need to take a little bit off. So I'll see, but you can see here the bolts and everything lined right up with the BRAT trailing arm. So Alright guys, so I have a pair of Monroe 33097s that supposedly, according to forums and the internet, will fit the BRAT. So, first impressions, they seem like they will. Let's see what all it came with. Oh, cool. Came with new top hats and bushings. So let's see. If you call that a top hat, look how old this rubber is. But it's got to be better than what's on the car right now. So here's another one. I don't know what year these were made, if any of this even says, but these definitely got to be old stock. So let's get them on the car and see how they look. So the way this works is there's a kind of like a, I guess you call it like an offset bushing in here, where this goes on, then this guy, I think, oh no, I got that backwards, goes that way. Then your shock will fit on there. Then there's this washer, and then a nut, lock washer, lock washer, and the nut that'll go on here. So let's get that in here. Ooh, kind of long. We can get these to slide on there. Let's see what happens. I'm assuming the old ones were a little tired. Let's see what we can do. There we go. Goes on there. Then we got our little, well, I believe that's how that went on there. Let's take this guy out. Let's look at the old one and see. Okay guys. Well, this guy right here is from the old shock, so you don't need that. So looks like, feed this up through here. Push up a little bit. Slide her over. I'll get it going on there. It's kind of hitting that a little bit. I don't know. Let's give a little manpower. There we go. And then you got your washer and your lock washer and your nut. Thread that puppy on there. Let's go see what size it is. Let's see. What do you think the odds are I grabbed the right size? Oh, what do you look at that? Everything on this is a 14. We finally got the rear 5-lug conversion done. So I didn't put pads in this guy yet. I'm going to clean up this caliper, so probably get powder coated and recovered, and need to find a rebuild kit for it if I can. Here it is. This is what we've been trying to achieve. I feel like it's just like coming to an end moment, but we've got a lot to do from this point on. So we've got the new shock in. We'll bolt him up top, and then we'll move on. And don't do what I just did and forget to put your bushing here on the top. So I'm gonna take all this out and do that real quick. So another thing I want to do real quick is I want to swap out this portion of the coilover with this longer portion. If you remember from a couple of videos ago, these coilovers are actually for an Impreza body style, and I have a feeling that this is just going to be too short for us, so that's going to get us at least another 2 to 3 inches. And since the strut, or I should say coilover, is so far up in this wheel well, this is going to help us out a lot. So let's get this swapped out. All right, I had to go ahead and throw on the front rotor and brakes to see what this is gonna look like, but there we go. We've got 5 lug in the front, 5 lug in the rear. The rear are massive compared to even the factory brakes and compared to the rear brakes. But luckily most of the stopping power is up in the front. If we have any bias or anything, we'll figure that out when we go down the road. But I did swap out that piece, as you just saw, for the longer one. So this will give it a little bit more adjustability. I can go about 4 inches up with this, and that way we get some proper wheel fitment. So next on the agenda is figuring out what to do with the e-brake. The e-brake was actually on the front on these. And then there's this trailing arm here, which, if you can see that, I actually had to cut off because on the BRAT control arm, the Gen 1, it's actually welded and the back of this thing is seized. I'm not gonna get that out, so I'm gonna have to get up underneath there and cut that out, but we're gonna have to custom make a trailing arm because, all right, so I think they're called radius arms or radial arms. Here's the one for the Gen 2, which I discussed in a previous video, actually bolts on. So if we can somehow make this longer, if we can somehow make this piece, we'll have to figure that out. So let's start working on that. All right, so what I want to show you guys is how we're going to measure this. So let's get you underneath the car here. Hopefully you can see pretty good. The mounting bracket for that arm is here. The control arm is here, just for reference. So we're going to measure this out. I'm just going to take it to the inside of that bracket and bring it all the way out straight to this arm. You're looking at about 500 millimeters. I'm doing this in millimeters with my millimeter tape measure. I'm going to say it's about another 500 millimeters. And then the actual arm itself here, if we look at it, if I measure from the inside of here, which is where I was measuring earlier, to the outside, I'm looking at about 75 millimeters. Yeah. So 575 millimeters, if you're looking at it that way, which this overall is 470. So we're extending about another 100 millimeters. So about another 100 millimeters is what we need to do to make it fully bolt in. And what I want to do is get a piece of stock, and then my stepdad has a forge, if you will, and a hammer press, so we could flatten this guy out, so we can almost mimic this whole piece. And then this part, what we'll do is we'll weld on a piece, which I actually have the one off the Gen 1 BRAT, and then of course we can kind of reuse these, get some new bushings. So should be pretty straightforward. All right guys, I think that's it for this video. It's starting to rain outside, and I've kind of come to a stopping point with these radial arms, and so I got some research to do and some material to buy. So next episode, I've got something cool for you. I got a new project to add to the channel, to the shop, to the garage, whatever you want to call it, and I'm excited to show that to you. So thanks for hanging out with me. Thanks for watching. Hope you have a good day.